everyone, a very warm welcome to the teaching show. In this video, we are going to cover a very important topic, what to do when the problem statement does not contain sufficient information to write the number of equations which is equal to the number of unknown variables. We have already seen that in combustion reaction, usually we use one equation which is the ratio of nitrogen to oxygen in the air which is supplied for combustion reaction. So that is one of the equation which is not directly, that information is not directly given in the problem statement, but still you use it from your own knowledge. So in this video, I am going to tell you what other additional relations you can write. Mostly when you write some additional relations, they usually involve a relation between some of the physical properties or estimation of physical properties. And from first to second lecture we had seen that density is a very important physical property which you should know. So this lecture is totally devoted on how to estimate the density values for pure liquid, solids and mixtures of liquids. Okay, so suppose you have been given a problem in which a volumetric flow rate is given. Now, since volume is not a conserved quantity, you cannot take a balance, material balance using volume. So you have to convert your volumetric flow rates into mass flow rates. Volumetric flow rates come into picture because whatever you use, like orifice meter, venturi meter, any type of flow measuring device which you use, it usually gives you your flow rates in volumes per unit time. Okay. Now you have to convert it into mass flow rate, and there is where the density comes into picture. Now if suppose you have a liquid or a solid or a gas which is moving through the pipeline or through the system, okay, so now you know the volumetric flow rate, you want to find out what is the mass flow rate. In order to do this conversion, you want the value of density. So you can find this density value in three different ways. Okay, one way is that you go and check it on the internet or in certain handbook. You will see that densities of various materials, they have been listed as a function of temperature and pressure. So you can read the value directly from there. Now suppose what happens is that you do not have tabulated value for the material which you are using, then what you will do? Then there are certain correlations, empirical correlations which are available. Some of the correlations, they are given in a book by Reeds and Prosnitz. You can go and check over there. So some empirical relations have been given. You can make use of them and estimate the density of that compound for which you do not have tabulated values. Okay, there is another approach as well. You can go directly to the lab, take the material and measure its density experimentally. But the third method usually we don't go for. Okay, we usually try to either read it from the tables or evaluate it or estimate it using an empirical equation. Okay, now since we have three different states of matter, solid, liquid and gas, so one by one we will talk about how to estimate the densities of these three different states of matter. Let's start with solid. So when you have a solid, from your knowledge you know that the density of solid, it doesn't change much with temperature and pressure. Okay, so let's consider a chunk of solid. Its mass is fixed. The only thing you can change is volume. Volume can be changed either by changing the pressure or temperature, but we know that solids are, they are incompressible. Okay, most of the solids, they are incompressible. So effect of pressure is negligible on volume. And also you see that if you increase or decrease the temperature, the change in the volume is very small. So for solids, you can take that the effect of change in temperature and pressure is negligible, and whatever the value of density which is listed in the table, see these tables, they contain the values which are listed at particular temperature and pressure. Okay, they will not be listed at all the temperatures and pressures. Okay, so for solid, suppose that let's say the density value is listed at 25 degrees centigrade, but you are doing your process at say 70 degrees, then you can take the density which is given at 25 and say that safely use it at 70 degrees, because this much temperature variation is not going to change the density by a appreciable amount. Okay, so for solids you can easily use this assumption that the density is a weak function of temperature and pressure, and you can use the listed value at certain whatever the temperature or pressure which is given. Next, let's consider liquids. So for pure liquids, again you have tabulated values. You can go and use them. And for liquids also, it's a very fair assumption that the density is does not vary much with temperature and pressure, and you can use the value which is listed at different temperatures and pressures. Okay, but whenever you are doing this, always write that assumption that I am assuming that the variation in density with temperature and pressure is negligible. Okay, so this was for the pure liquids. But what happens if you have a liquid mixture? Okay, so let's consider a case where I have a mixture of liquid. Let's say I have three components, A, B and C, and now I am mixing these three components. Okay, let's say the mixture, it contains XA fraction of A, XB mass fraction of B and XC mass fraction of C. Okay, now often you see that, you know, whenever you are doing whatever you have done till now, you have seen there are more than one components which are going into the process and more than one component which are coming out of the process. Okay, so in that case, mixture is the thing which you always handle, and you will have to find out the density of the mixture. Okay, A, B and C, they are pure components. You can go and check the value, or you can find the value, tabulated value of densities of pure A, B and C. Let's write down these as well. Okay, so these are the densities of pure A, B and C. Let's say at whatever temperature and pressure we are talking about in the problem. Okay, so I have mass fractions and the density of pure components. Now there are two equations which I can use to estimate the value of your average density. Okay, so let's denote rho bar as the density of the mixture. Okay, and mixture is made up of, let's say, not just 3 but I components. So I have 1 to I, these many number of components I have, and let's say that the mass fraction of each of the ith component is xi and the density is rho I. Okay, then my first equation, it just takes a weighted average, and my average density is then equal to summation of xi rho I. Okay, now inverse of density we all know. What is that? Inverse of density is specific volume. Okay, I can also find out my average specific volume for the mixture, and I can write a similar equation xi vi, where vi is the specific volume of each of the components. How do I find vi? That is inverse of densities. Okay, so my second equation, it is the weighted average of the specific volumes, which is the volume per kg of whatever the component. Okay, now if I write this in terms of densities, then it becomes average 1 upon average density, that is equal to summation of xi upon rho I. Okay, so these are two different equations and these give you two different answers. Now which one you use, it depends on your judgment. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule. Whichever correlates better with the experimentally determined values, that is the one which we use. So I will quickly take an example and find out the densities using these formulas one by one. Okay, let's do that. So just for explanation, I have a 50% aqueous solution of H2SO4 which I am handling. Okay, now I know the volumetric flow rate of the solution, but in order to do any calculation I have to convert this into mass flow rate. For that I require density, so I will find out the density. Let's say okay, so if it is a 50% aqueous solution, what is the mass fraction of water and H2SO4? That will be 0.5. Okay, so XA and XB is 0.5 each. Now I want to find out also the values of water, density of water and and density of H2SO4. Let's say that this has been provided to you, or you can go and read it from the tables. Let's say that this solution, it is at 20 degrees centigrade. So I am giving you the density values at 20 degrees. Okay. So density of water at 20 degrees centigrade, as I read from the tables which are given either on internet, okay, or in Perry's handbook. So for water it is 0.998 grams per centimeter cube, and H2SO4 it lists the value as 1.834 gram per centimeter cube. Okay, so these are the densities of the pure components which are given. First of all, I will make use of this equation and find out what will be the density of 50% aqueous solution of H2SO4. How do I do it? It will be 0.5, that is XA into rho A, 0.998 plus 0.5 times 1.834. Okay, so this is my density and it comes out to be 1.42 grams per centimeter cube. Now let's use this formula to calculate my density, and let's see how much these values differ from each other. So if I use this formula, 1 upon rho bar, that is equal to 0.5 divided by 0.998 plus 0.5 divided by 1.834. This value, it comes out to be 0.7736. If I have to find out the density of the mixture, take inverse, and the inverse value comes out to be 1.29 grams per centimeter cube. Okay, so what I have seen, I get two different values. Now which one to use, it totally depends on you, but if you have any way, you can go and check what is the density. Actually, what is the density of H2SO4 which has been experimentally found for 50% aqueous solution at 20 degrees centigrade. This value is listed in Perry's and I have taken it from there. Actual value comes out to be 1.3951 grams per centimeter cube. So what I find is that experimental value matches with this first formula. Okay. So for H2SO4, in future, if I have 30%, 25%, whatever percent aqueous solution of H2SO4 I get, I will prefer this formula over this one. Okay. So it is all your judgment. There is no hard and fast rule. Whichever equation, it gives you a better result. Okay. Least error, that is what you use. Okay. But from exam point of view, either of these equations you can use. No one can say that either one is more better than the other one. Okay, so this is about the finding the average densities for a mixture, liquid mixture. In the next video, we will take how to find out densities for a pure gas and gaseous mixture. So I hope you understood my point in this video, and thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video if you find it useful. Thank you so much.